Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Give me time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up, we have welcome Brad Harth. Brad is taking over District 3 with the vacancy left by Keith Tuck, so we want to welcome him to the board.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or anything they want to remove or talk about? I would like to remove 10A, which is transfer requests for the interest. I've got to gather some more information. I have a little bit of information, but I need to do some more research on that. So if we can remove that. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by David. Do I have a second? Second by Gail. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Next up is public comments, and I don't think we have anyone signed in. So the next item on the agenda is number 5, Charlie Ballmeister, clerk, for second deputy full-time resignation vacancy.
Good evening. I was here last month and advised you that I had an employee to resign. I wanted to open up the position. A couple of days afterwards, I had the second employee resign. So during my interviews, in the back of my mind, I was looking for 2 positions to fill. I did hire one, and during the time that we were doing the interviewing, my part-time person came to me and said that she thought she would like to work full-time. I had went to her originally when I had the first opening, and she said at the time she didn't think it would work because of her schooling, but she's going online now. So my first thing is to ask to go ahead and okay the second position, and then after that, then I'll ask my second question.
Okay, does anybody have any discussion or have any questions for Charlie about the full-time position? Or so you already have your other one filled, and that
Yes.
person is now starting to train, or?
She started on Monday.
Okay, so this week.
We were without, we were down to a part-time and full-time for 2 weeks. And 1 week we had 2 full-times and 1 part-time. So now I'm back up to 2 full-times and a part-time. And I'd like to replace the opening for the full-time.
So this would bring you up to 3 full-time, and then yourself is full-time, so
Yes.
4. Okay,
So you're not asking for the part-time now?
I will ask it because my part-time is going to move up to full-time. Then I'm requesting the okay to advertise for the part-time.
Okay.
Because we need the people. The past 3 weeks, it's just unbelievable what comes through that office. Between the court, the 4D, looking up files, and we actually have 2 people because I'm still training and the new person. And the young lady that's been my full-time person that I'm moving up to chief deputy. She's doing the training and trying to catch up with everything. It's just bogging her down. For some of you that weren't on the council a couple years ago, at one time that office had 4 full-time and a part-time. A person retired and it was decided not to replace that person. So we went with 3 full-time and a part-time. And I'd like to keep it that way.
Well, I'd like to let everyone know that there are changes coming down from the state, which we may not be getting as much property tax income. And I don't know how that's going to affect us. I hope.
And I understand that, Stan, I've been in that seat
Sure.
before, so I understand that.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking, since it was budgeted for this year, that we finish out the year with 3 full-time and 1 part-time.
Yeah.
The part-time person's paid out of the perpetual fund, half the salary,
Sure.
and then general fund.
Yeah.
Could the full-time, could part of that be paid out of the perpetual? Like if, I'm just saying, if we approve the full-time but not a part-time, could that part-time pay go towards to free up some more money in the, of the budget? I mean, just because you don't spend it doesn't mean we lose it, you know? I mean, we
Right,
just-
but I, like I said, we need, the manpower in there because of everything that's going through. We've got a bunch of jury trials coming up.
Mhm.
We're bombarded. We do all the mailing for the court, for the prosecutor's office. We have people every day on the phone to us. We're researching, trying to find old, divorce papers and marriage license, and that's time consuming. And if we don't have that part-time person, they only work 4 days a week, 28 hours.
One thing you won't have this year is an election though, right?
Yes, we do have an election.
Just the count.
Well,
the
That's
referendum.
not a lot.
Our office has to be closed
I
that
know.
day, and,
It's just for
but
the
I
city.
think that we'll be able to work that, we're not going to have that overtime.
Mhm.
I think the election board can do that because we're gonna do paper ballots up there, and I don't think, the ladies in the
Have they
office.
filed for the referendum?
They have to August 15th.
So they'll want it on November referendum?
Yes, they had a
Not the
choice.
May?
No, they had a choice, and they decided to go with the November. And it's just a 1 day, there's no early voting, so it'll just be the workers there.
Yeah.
The school corporation pays.
Just within the
fee.
city limits? Or the-
Yeah, whoever's in the
Yeah, I
school
guess, the
district,
school limits, yeah.
so.
I'm okay with filling the full-time position, but I'd like to put a hold on the part-time position just because of what we have coming with Senate Bill 1. We don't know what we have with that, and we have potential for reductions of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I would much rather do it this way through attrition when someone leaves instead of having to cut someone after the fact that's
I'm
actually
just afraid
employed.
it's gonna cause my, chief deputy to quit. And if she leaves, we're done because we have no experience in that office.
If we fill this full-time, you'll have 3 full-time and yourself, which you're full-time, right? So you'll
Right.
have 4
But
full-time.
I'm still learning also. There's so much for me to
Okay.
learn. And I haven't even started on the election, and that's the biggest thing for the clerk is preparing, because I'm already getting things that the state's coming down. I didn't want to mention it tonight, but all the screens on the voting machines have to be replaced
Mhm.
before the next election. So we're talking thousands of dollars there.
Yeah,
So
That's just more cost.
That's more reason.
That is more reason.
we need the manpower.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I'm personally interested in filling the full-time only at this time, but I'll entertain a motion or discussion from anybody else, what they,
We should know something
by the end of
relatively
April.
soon as to what it would do.
I can understand that if the cuts are made that next year, I could lose the part-time, but I need them this year. The money's already appropriated. I don't see why we can't full this year's budget.
We're asking you just to wait till like
Like
April.
the end of April to see what
To
our
see what
reductions are gonna
happens.
be.
But then again, you're not giving me an answer one way or another. At the end of April, if they make the cuts, are you gonna say, no, we're not gonna do this?
Possibly.
I
And
would
don't
be in
think that-
favor of that.
I don't think that's fair.
That's possible. That's
Well, anything's possible, Stan, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's fair to my department.
Well, we have to make cuts somewhere.
Is it, Charlie, is it fair to somebody to say we're gonna give you a part-time position and then
Take
turn around? and cut
I
it?
think that they need to be, known that when I do the interviews, that this, depending on what funding is for next year. But I'm not worried about next year, I'm worried about now.
I don't,
And I'm afraid we're gonna lose more people. If we lose more people, the next person you'll be hearing from is the judge.
Well.
Because her department will get behind, and she's not gonna like that. Very simple.
so you have, how many people are training? 3 out of 4 with this?
Right now, we have the new person. The part-time person is also training on new things because she didn't do that as a part-time, plus myself. And one person is trying to train all this. When the 2 left, they didn't leave notes. So we're starting from scratch.
Charlie, are you pulling from other counties, Spencer County and
Matter of fact, I'm going tomorrow to Crawford
job
County.
shadow
Spencer
with
County.
them?
I'm going up there tomorrow to look at Crawford County. I plan on doing Spencer County. I have a conference second week in March down in Evansville, that all the clerks in the area are gonna be there. I'm gonna meet with them and try to get as much
Well,
help as I
You
can.
knew you was gonna have to get up to speed pretty fast
Yeah,
because,
well.
you know, and you're in a
it's slow
heck of a
process
position, you're in a
because
heck of a
We were so
position.
far behind when I took over.
Yeah,
I'm still catching up on the election from last year.
Yeah.
That was behind.
Are you aware we might go to paper ballots?
Anything.
Do you know
possible.
that? So you might want to keep
Anything
that in
possible.
mind too, because that's in the back
But
of everybody's head
then
anymore.
you're
so,
talking about more manpower.
Yeah,
So I'm requesting both the full-time position and part-time.
I'll entertain a motion for the full-time position. Motion made by Corey,
I'll second that.
second by David. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
all right.
Everybody? Okay, motion passes 7-0. And
Now I'm moving my part-time to full-time. I'm requesting to advertise for the part-time.
I'm personally not interested in that, but,
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and advertise for the part-time.
so are you making a motion to allow him to fill it? Or is that what you, I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I'll entertain a motion, but
Well, can you have something now where we can have him to advertise, but not start it until after we get some information from the state on the state?
When you advertise,
it's kind of like you're hiring for that position, I think.
when you're advertising, you're actually, somebody's gonna be applying for that position, so, I'm not sure.
I
We
just
need
like to wait till the
advertise
end of
right
April
now.
to see where we're going to be
Yeah,
with
again,
finances, because I'd much rather do it this way instead of having to cut somebody that's already working. I do not like that.
We've gone so many weeks shorthanded and we're so far behind, we need that person. That's all I can say.
If we can advertise and let that person know that, you know, that nothing's concrete until, and give them the date in April, whatever, at least that'd be advertised, maybe have the person in line, but not starting until that. Which would
I'm
speed the
in agreement
process
with
up.
that.
I think you're gonna have a very hard time
I do
being
too.
honest with
I'm
someone.
not saying I would even be able to replace that person within 6 weeks. But I'd like the opportunity to open it up where I can take the applications and look at them and interview and tell these people what we're waiting on. And then once you make a decision, if your decision is,
But for that action, do you really need a
No.
motion to fund? Because
no, I'm just asking to open up application process for that
I
part-time.
feel like it's kind of disingenuous if we open that up, we're telling people there's going to be a position and it's giving them false hope. I don't like that at all.
And then I will probably be back next month for another full-time person. They'll probably
Charlie,
leave me.
I can't do everything on probablys. All I know is what we have to work with now, and I'm very concerned about the county's financial situation with the current,
It's not probable, the money is there already, Kelly.
and we're gonna have to find somewhere to cut. So it's either cut or raise taxes, and I'm not interested in raising taxes, so we're gonna have to find cuts within. And I'd rather not cut somebody who is already here with jobs if I can do it when people leave and we can try to absorb some of these duties and spread them out in these offices and take on more. I mean, your
think counties
salary-
have layoffs all the time.
Your salary, Charlie.
I know I'm salaried.
So if it takes a little more, work from you or anyone else, then that's what we have to do. That's just, I mean, that's what I do in the private sector. They give me more duties and that's just part
But I
of it.
also have to answer to the court, the prosecutor, the community, and do you want me to say the reason we're so far behind is I don't have enough help? I'm more than happy to announce that.
I believe we're all gonna have to face up to realities like
Right.
that
Yeah.
I
and
do too, but
take the blame on this
right
side.
now, I'm worried about right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're behind, we're gonna get further behind, bottom line.
I'll make a
Well,
motion.
From now, I think the board needs to start making the cuts through attrition.
I'm gonna
If someone leaves.
make a motion that at this time, we do not hire the part-time until we know something in April. And then we go back and look at it at that time.
Okay.
That's going to be my motion.
I'll second that.
David makes a motion, seconded by Stan. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Motion passes. Is that everybody? Okay, sorry, just want to make sure. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Charlie. Next up, Tara, public health nurse, HFI employees.
So, I sent you guys several emails kind of explaining where we are currently with our Health First Indiana employees.
Yeah, I got it.
So did you guys have any questions on how things were previously done and the requests being made to change them?
Can you just go through that real quick, if
Sure.
if you don't mind?
So in 2024, we hired a school health liaison and a sanitarian assistant, and they were listed as contracted non-county employees. Worked with the county attorney on that and came to the conclusion that this is what they would be. In January of this year, the sanitarian assistant position was approved by you guys to go full-time and was funded at a full-time rate, still hopefully to keep them contracted. But after talking to Lori with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, it was determined that it would be best if both of these positions were converted to part-time county employee positions. And I know that I sent over the verbiage that Lori shared with Chris. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to pretend to understand a lot of the things that she wrote. But I will say that the biggest takeaway that I have tried to always, with these Health First Indiana employees and even with our grant employees, which we do have a couple, the most important part to me is explaining to them whether they are a county employee or they remain contracted or a grant employee. It's not a guaranteed position. When I interviewed for those two positions, I was very upfront and honest about that. And I would hope that, if you do go ahead and approve them to become county employees, knowing that we have the funding to cover, that I would still, we have one position that is filled, the liaison position that's full, but the sanitarian assistant, we need to hire for that. So I would still be very honest that this would be, pending future funding.
Are those
So-
both full-time?
Say that one more
Are they
time.
both full-time?
They're going to
No,
part-time.
They're both part-time.
The request then, due to the,
Insurance.
requirements by, or the suggestions by WIS and then the county attorney, was to keep them under 30 hours a week, which our liaison, she works 21 hours a week. And then the assistant position, like I said, the hope was that it would go to, a 35-hour work week, but after looking at everything and talking with Lori, we would like to fund that at 25 hours per week, which is 3.5 days. It kind of keeps us it gives us the help that we need, and it keeps us within that funding mechanism so that we don't have to reallocate funds. We're able to cover
It's in your budget for this year, and
You got
if there's something next year, you can adjust or
we
whatever.
can adjust next year, and we would, I'm very honest, we would hire under the understanding that this funding is only guaranteed through December 31st of this year.
Mhm.
Hopefully it gets extended, hopefully at the same funding rate, but nothing is guaranteed, so we just are very honest about that.
I did have a question about the memorandum from Lori.
Yes,
So there was a sentence in here and it said additionally, the employer-employee relationship will likely continue indefinitely. And I was like, oh, hold on. So I called and I didn't get to talk to Lori, but I talked to Addie.
Yep.
And anyways, her suggestion was, she said, I can see where that's of concern because I said, this is grant. And she said, just on the job description, if we can put at the top that it's grant position and where it says status, just part-time grant funded, and then
Okay.
somewhere at the bottom, if funding was not available, that this could be eliminated. So,
okay.
yeah,
And
if you
I
don't
think
mind.
that's where, and I can change that, that's no problem. I think that is where keeping them contracted, that was the idea, but
Yeah.
keep making them contracted employees,
And they
because
don't-
it's.
They don't meet that though, according to this.
What?
The
They
contract
don't,
employee.
according to that, no.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Right.
It's so strange, yeah.
It's weird.
It is very odd because I do feel like it's, Lori was very clear that having a beginning date and an ending date is critical and crucial. And I feel like we're able to offer that to a degree because we don't know.
Year to year.
We don't know. Yeah, it's year to year. So, but nonetheless, if you guys are okay with us converting Patty, our school liaison, to a part-time employee, and then I would update that job
Yeah.
description that I attached to reflect that. If you don't mind to send
I
that
will.
to me. in
She
email,
told me
I'll
exactly
forward it.
for it to say.
And
so.
then I'll get that back to you guys, and then if we could get Chris to post that so that we can get moving on that position, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm glad, being open with them
Yeah,
and
I would want to
it's
know.
grant money, because if
Yeah.
it goes away, grant
Yeah,
goes away, then
Absolutely.
position goes away, so.
Yeah. And
And
I
it's
would
not
want to know
affecting our
this.
general fund whatsoever, so.
Yeah, so you're paying all the taxes,
All of that,
the-
yeah, I talked to Kelly Bogus at length to make sure that
Okay, good.
everything was covered, and she checked my math, and
Okay.
I think we're good. Now, on the school liaison, and I did put in there would be likely a little bit that needed to be transferred in there, but again,
But
we
you
would
still
just
have it,
allocate
you'll
it from HFI.
Okay.
It would just be moving it from one to the next.
Okay, so it still wouldn't be anything out of general?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm glad this was brought up. It seems to clear up a lot of things and will also make the job more attractive, I think, to get that
Great.
assistant position filled. So I will make a motion to move both of these employees into county employees minutes. Over contracted, part-time contracted.
part-time, yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made by Corey to allow the two positions to be part-time, and they are with the understanding that it's HFI grant funding fully, and that could go away. And then it's seconded by David. Okay, any other discussion? Questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, appreciate it.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Okay, next up, Steve Howe. Truck driver resignation vacancy.
I had an operator that retired. We didn't know he was going to retire this soon, but for health reasons he did, and I need to replace him. I don't know if it'll be an operator or truck driver yet. I've got I've got 4 applications, and if we get a good, I don't know which position it's gonna be yet. We've got 4 truck drivers that probably want to all move up to that, but depends on the applications I get.
And that wouldn't require another, or it would?
No,
Okay, you're not gonna add another one after that if somebody moves up to this?
No.
Okay.
no, I just, the one we hire.
How many truck drivers do you have right now?
4.
4? I know you had a couple openings last year, right? And you had a little bit of trouble
We went
filling them,
most of the summer without 2 truck drivers,
but you have all 4 now besides this. Okay,
trying to save up some money.
okay. Do I have any questions for Steve? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Paul to approve
I'll
the
second that.
truck driver operator position, and seconded by Stan. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank
I
you.
also would like to ask you guys about, about the mileage thing. They're gonna start charging, well.
You need to take home vehicles.
Yeah. There's 9 of us out there that involves. That's been part of the job for, I don't know how many years, forever. Those positions take those vehicles home. We got them scattered around the county. If we get a tree down at night, which that's when they usually fall, we call the closest one and get him to the tree to get some lights flashing.
So they're aware that they're on 24-hour call? Or
Well, they get a 4-hour minimum if we call them out.
No, but what he's asking is they can't turn down the opportunity, or they can't tell you they can't go.
Well,
I think that's what you're asking.
Sometimes they
That
do,
is
as you said.
outrageous.
Well, they could say, I've drank 2 or 3 beer and then we don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Okay.
But that's not being on call.
That don't happen. I mean, we haven't had a problem with that.
Mhm.
But anyway, I mean, we get some lights out there flashing at these trees, and sometimes there's a deputy there with lights, and we appreciate that when they do that. But sometimes there's not, and we try to get somebody as quick as we can to get lights there so somebody don't run into that tree. It's a safety thing. And also, I go look at roads on Fridays and weekends sometimes if I've had a lot of calls and haven't had a chance to go out there, I'll go out and look at it. That's part of the job. That's not personal use. If this paper says personal use, I don't, none of this is personal use. So the commissioners told me that their hands were tied on this. And I told them what I was gonna do. I was gonna talk to you guys, and I think all 3 of them support me on it, 2 of them definitely. But there's gonna be about $620 or $30 turned in on our W-2s for this mileage. Now, I know that's not gonna be a big amount added to our taxes. It might be less than $200 maybe. I don't know what the taxes would be on that.
Probably
About
150 or
But I
less.
would like to ask you guys to adjust those people's pay that this involved, because if you don't, it's a pay cut. You know, this has always been part of the job, and it'll be a pay cut if it's, and nobody wants a pay cut.
But the reason we're doing this is because of the state board accounts.
Yeah, we've not been in compliance all these years.
So all the
That's
years
issue.
you've been doing it, it's been wrong.
I understand that, but are we gonna cut their pay because?
Well, actually, it's a significant cost to the county to have 9 vehicles going from their house to the job, back to their house every single day with the gas and the wear and tear and the mileage and the oil changing and the
It is.
tires and all of those
Yeah.
things. That's very expensive.
I agree with you, it is, unless we get sued for somebody hitting a tree. and-
Well, what would be, I guess my question, what would be wrong with having one a week be the on-call person? And then if that happens, that person goes out and takes care of it. We don't have 9 people driving back and forth every day.
The problem with that is, we don't send one person out at night by themselves to cut a tree, we always send at least 2 people. We get somebody there as quick as we can, but it's a long way from Tobin Fort to Siberia. And if you put somebody in the northern part of the county, they're gonna be a half hour, well, you can't get to Tobin Fort in a half hour. Siberia is 45, 50 minutes,
And that's if the water's not up.
if the water's not up, yes. So, I mean, it's a.
How many, can you give us an estimate of how many trees down you take care of like that a year?
I wish you wouldn't believe the number, it's,
I mean, do you track it?
I got it on record, Danny, every time I call somebody out, I can get you that.
Yeah.
I
I'd
mean,
like to
it
see it.
happens a lot. It's almost every weekend. The trees can't fall during the week, it don't seem like, when we're working. They've gotta fall at nighttime when we gotta,
You can't help that.
no.
I'm just kind of concerned about the cost of how much that is to go back and it's not just the highway department, it's just in general that we have other take-home vehicles that have costs, so I don't know. We're looking at cost-saving measures here whenever we're gonna look at potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in reductions, so I'm not really looking to add any extra expense.
Kelly, we are looking at a disease that's hitting one of our very prominent trees in the community, the emerald ash borer, and those trees, some of the larger ones are just starting to come down.
We have a lot of those down.
And that is going to continue for a couple of years.
Mhm.
I share your concern for the cost, but again, I've had experiences where trees have gone down in roads that I've used and somebody had already taken care of. It's awfully nice as a safety mechanism to have that taken care of in a quick fashion. I kind of torn between the two.
I think what he's asking today, though, is I was just bringing that up for consideration for the future. We don't have to take action on anything like that today. I think your question is, would we be willing to pay their taxes on or give them some kind of increase to cover the taxes?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, it ain't gonna be very much money per person.
I mean, I'm not even sure we can do that because we have to charge it,
You know,
And if we
what's it
give them,
worth?
I mean, it's going to end up being $156 or less, I mean, a year, when in taxes, because they're not actually paying the $3 a day, they're just paying the taxes on it, so.
Taxes on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, what's it worth on Christmas Eve night for an employee to be called out?
Well, I guess here's another one of my questions. I've had other county employees come to me and say, I want a 4-wheel drive truck to drive back and forth to work for taxes on $3 a day. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, where does it, I don't know.
They get compensated. They currently, right now, they get 4 hours, no matter how long they're out. So if they're only out for 30 minutes, they get 44 hours. So they're compensated
Yeah,
for
we
their
get
time.
4-hour minimum.
So if you're out for an hour, you get 4 hours
You get 4 hours.
automatically.
But, where are you gonna go cut a tree in an hour?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm just saying.
And,
But if something
who wants to
takes
get
less
up at
time,
2? Dispatch calls me and I'll call the foreman and they call somebody to go out. Who wants to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go cut a tree out of the
I
road?
think the issue is there's other departments who get called out and they only get hour for hour, right?
Correct.
So
what
that's
we're
the
getting
problem.
for right now.
Does everybody get to take chainsaws home just in case? I mean, that's the thing. If they have to drive to the garage to get equipment and then drive to
We
wherever
don't-
they've
we
got to
don't
go.
in the garage, they just go straight to the tree.
Right, if they've got their,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they do, I mean, we send saws and stuff with them, and traffic cones and all that with them.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where it's an expense, but
I hate to see him out there get a pay cut and that, and.
And I want them to understand this is the federal government's rule. This
Oh, I
isn't
know.
something we just made up and said we need
Yeah,
to,
I know
you
it's
know,
federal
once we're
government.
made aware of it, we have to start
It's
following
the
it.
federal government, but you guys can correct this. You can make up, you know, where they
Well,
don't get a pay
We already
cut.
have a huge expense by allowing it to begin with. It is a cost savings to them to not have to drive their own personal vehicle with gas and mileage and wear and tear to and from work.
I imagine
That's a
lot
big
of them-
expense.
I imagine a lot of them wouldn't go at night if they didn't have a vehicle.
But I mean, go to work just every day. They're driving these every single day. So whether there's a tree
But
down or
they're
not.
saying that's personal use, that is not.
Why isn't it?
You're only
It
getting,
is.
they're only getting for the drive, the commute
Yeah.
to work
From their
and
house to
home.
the work.
So they're not using a personal vehicle to drive to work
No.
every morning and home. That's what it is. And this isn't me. This is just
Oh, I know.
because
I
I
know.
went through the audit and this was one of our findings and
Any-
that's what it is.
Anybody outside law enforcement, we're not allowed, there's other departments getting the same thing. I mean, you're on the handbook committee.
So what I'm saying is, yes, much respect to them
Yeah.
for doing their duty and going out in the middle of the night and paying the thing, but
Yeah.
I'm driving my personal vehicle to work and I'm driving my personal vehicle home. That's a cost for me and
We
they-
I don't never call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and say.
correct, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, you were getting called out and you're getting your 4 hours of cop time. And that's part of that's what, I completely understand that, but they're not comparable. What I'm saying is the $3 a day is for your commute to work and from, that has nothing to do when you're called out.
And it's just the tax.
So if you would have a rotation of where you would say, hey, we're gonna have 4 people, which is something that we've got on the personnel policy agenda to talk about in March, where if you would have a rotation, where you would have an on-call, where you've got 4 people that are on call, that, hey, you're on call right now, and if we get a call, then you go. So instead of 9 vehicles going out every day, going home every day, you would just have 4.
Problem
So-
with that is, don't know where the trees are going.
Correct.
But if they could cover like a quarter of the county, it's a lot better than, like you said, coming all the way across.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want, I hate to think that we didn't get out there and get somebody out there and somebody runs into it. We've been really lucky. That's rarely happened. And I think it's because of the deputies.
So what happens? Somebody calls the police and then they report it and then they call you, or how does that?
Well, sometimes they call me, sometimes they call dispatch,
Hmm.
and they call me. Or some, a lot of times the person will call me.
If they know you, if they know your number?
Yeah.
But the $3 a day is not, it's for the commute. It has nothing to do with the being on call, does it?
And I just want to make it clear, it's not $3 like out of their pocket, it's the tax on that.
Tax on
it,
It's
yeah,
just, okay.
It's a fringe
I just want to make sure nobody else thinks that.
It's a small amount, but nobody wants
Yeah.
a pay cut, and it is a pay cut.
Oh, trust me, I've heard it.
Well,
Trust me,
I
I've heard
understand
it.
that, but I also agree with Chris that all the other employees are driving their personal vehicles here, wherever they work in the county, and they have to drive to and from, and that's on their gas and their wear and tear and stuff, so.
It's a fair labor standard. And like I said, it's something that the county was not doing. It was brought to the State Board of Accounts
I
attention,
understand.
and here we are.
Yeah, so we didn't know, so now we know, we have to correct it, so.
And the other thing I've got is our insurance money. I've talked to some of you about that. And I've not got any problem with Chris. I think she does a good job.
Thank
She
you.
does what she needs to do. I need to do what I need to do. When you take money from the highway department and use it somewhere else, federal highway and NDOT has rolling over, you're not to take, that's gas tax money. You're not to take that and use it at the courthouse to help them. That's meant to be put on the roads. So when we got this $84,023.06, I went all summer without 2 truck drivers, trying to save up money where we could to we need to get some trucks really bad. Our newest trucks are 2018. We got 3 of them that's 2018, everything else is older. We need to get some trucks, and I thought, well, we'll have almost enough there to help pay for one. I expect them to be around 125,000 apiece.
The dump trucks,
Yeah.
is that what you were, and you need
Last
3,
time-
is that what you
So
told
we
me?
need about a dozen, but 3 would help.
Dump trucks?
Yeah.
A dozen?
Yeah, that would help.
Now, Steve,
Well,
only 125,000 apiece, so we'll have to start planning.
I mean, that's 2018's our newest ones.
Okay.
you know, everything else is older and.
I do think we need to get a plan for those bigger expenses, not
Right.
just this, but anything large expenses that you have, so we can plan for the future and start putting back money for the replacements of those, so. See where we're at, where they fall in with mileage and what needs replaced first, so. So you're talking about, I just want to make sure I understand, back in the fall, when you had some money sitting in the insurance
Yeah.
fund, and, the council made a decision for any departments that had money left over in their insurance for it to go in the big insurance pool. Now, you say courthouse, but it's not really for the courthouse, it's for the
Yeah,
insurance
I
pool.
understand. I don't think anybody,
Okay.
when this was passed, I don't think anybody realized there was that much money out of the.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't know, but
It happens every year. It
Well-
happens every year, and it pays for your insurance.
Pam Goffman,
Mhm.
when she, I shouldn't say names,
Yep.
when she was here, she did that a few times. I
Yep.
talked to David, you said you didn't know if you remember or not, you told me you wasn't gonna let that happen anymore. Well, the year after that, there was no money left in that fund. Okay, then Chris came on last year and they said she forgot to do it.
I did not do the transfer in 2023. No, I did not. And our insurance fund significantly showed that. And just so you know, your employees' claims are paid out of that. So money out of that insurance claim is paying for highway employees.
Not highway money, not highway funds that he's talking about that has to be put on the roads.
no.
No.
You
It's a
budgeted them
separate
for
bucket.
insurance,
So it's all.
It's
all
not-
our
but you
money.
budgeted that for
Yeah,
insurance, though.
Okay,
It was
so
put in the
let
budget.
me bring them up to speed real quick. So you have
You can- you
your
can tell us
general
in a minute what
fund,
yours
you
is.
have your health fund, you have your highway and all that to where they budget for their insurance expense, okay? And so that's why you need to appropriately budget, because we are self-insured. So we pay the county pays the first $60,000 on every belly button. When I started, that fund, you needed to have it at 800,000 and you don't let it go. And even if we would have an astronomical family, we would be.
It could break us.
Okay? So then it was like $1 million. Now it's like $1.5 million. So what we do, and it happened to the general, it happened to the health, it happened to the highway, it happened to everything, and that's what they've done for years past. And it wasn't oversight on my part. It was my first year in 2023. Didn't know it. And I had all new staff, as Charlie's dealing with right now. And so it was forgotten. We have to build that fund up. So if you budgeted $100,000 or $1 million and you only spent $800,000, I'm gonna take the $200,000 that's left in that appropriation and move it to our health fund.
And
That's
I'm
the
gonna
only
complain
way.
about it.
And I respect Steve because he says, like we've talked, he has to do and say what he has to say to protect his department, as do I. I have to make sure we have money in that health fund to pay all of our bills and do all that. And the only way for that to grow is for us to, if we don't spend everything we budget, we move in health, in insurance, we move it.
Did you
To
budget
that.
health this year?
And we did it for general, we did it for the health fund, we did it
Do something.
for highway. We did all of the departments.
But from each bucket back into
The big
that
pool.
bucket,
Correct.
okay?
But we still haven't got any paperwork out there showing us this happened. And I thought I had.
You have loud access. You have loud
I don't
access
know
just
how
the
to
same.
get that loud.
Everybody has loud access.
What would you like? What do you need that I can have her get, or I
Yeah.
can print for you?
And you were at the meeting when it was
Oh,
approved.
I know now after.
Well, I know, but I can get it for you in paper. You say you like paper?
After Maryland
I
couldn't
know.
balance her budget, her books and.
Oh,
called
so
in
you
and
just
she
weren't
found
aware that
out.
happened?
Yeah, we wasn't told this was gonna happen. We still haven't received it.
So you would have been okay with it had you been
No,
notified?
I wouldn't have been okay with it.
No, you wouldn't have.
I was trying to save that money.
Good try, David.
Like I told a lot of departments, Steve.
No, not that I said it would never happen
Something
again.
else.
I do remember,
You remember when they came to the highway department 2 different years and asked for 80-some.
I think that was like, was that like 16, 17,
Yeah.
15? I just started in
We
17.
gave them that money. And in 2 years, we gave like $80,000-$90,000.
I know what that, I kind of remember that.
We voted on that.
If they broke, we'd try to do that again, but my understanding is the insurance is not doing bad.
It will.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
know.
Some years are worse than others. I mean, we're trying,
You
but
have to
the costs
prepare.
just keep going up.
We
It's a problem.
have an aging workforce.
Yeah,
That's
and
not
in
good.
addition to the 60,000 per belly button, up to that amount that we owe, we actually owe, like if somebody has a family plan, the county's on the hook for like 27,000. And then if it's a single
That's
plan,
not
it's
county
like
premium, right?
15,000.
Yeah.
That's just the premium plus the up to 60,000 per covered
And Steve, to
person.
answer that too, I
So
do
it's
kind
kinda
of get
scary.
like this. I come to every meeting, I get a lot of department heads and I love you guys and work with you, but it's not my job to inform you of everything that's going on. All these things are run through meetings and you have the right to watch the
When I-
meeting
I was
and
at
attend the meeting
and
just
no-
the same.
Nobody said we're gonna take $84,000.
I'm pretty sure it went right through.
There was not a specific amount. I said, do we have an amount? You said no,
Talking about a few dollars, and I
Correct.
didn't know it.
but that did happen.
I get what you're saying.
And the $9,474.
Because when he asked me, I was like, I don't remember that.
Restricted, you're not allowed to take money from the restricted. That's,
Well, it's paid, it's out of that line item. It's not, you're not taking it, you can't just take money out. It's coming out of that line item and going into,
And if something happens that you're under the, sometime where you don't have enough funds, we can pull from the big pot, So, I
Is
mean,
that
it's gonna
normal
help
for you to have
you.
that much
It's-
left over?
no.
He was missing,
That's not the way you say it.
you don't over budget in a.
Let's work on a plan for your trucks. How about that? I promise we'll figure out.
Last time we leased 3 trucks, we had a year left on that.
He's
Maybe
really
he
good.
said, I
He's
hope
trying.
you guys don't do any more leases, so I've tried not
I
to.
said that.
If
Don't
you
do it
did,
this time.
I think we need to get,
He's putting on the spot.
it's on recording, so look.
he said that in the meeting, that's
Oh.
all.
He's got to be commended for trying to accumulate
is.
capital fund for.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
I love it.
I do think,
I thought we could transfer that
I
into
understand.
equipment and have a good.
but I think if we need to have a conversation about your trucks, then we need to do that. I mean, what is it?
We
What does
need
it
to
look
work
like?
on a
What's
plan
the
to try to
plan? Yeah.
find that 80,000.
Yeah, it's not just the no, sorry, drive it until the wheels fall off. I mean, it's, let's work on a plan. So if you want me to help you with that, or if there's anything I can do, I'll be glad to.
Sure can.
Okay,
Steve, you know.
because
I
I'm
love
gonna
you.
come out and see you and
Have no
see what we need.
No, hey, make sure Marilyn doesn't not talk to me for a couple days after she watches this meeting. I love you.
Steve just wants to make sure there's no hole in his bucket.
Hey, I'm gonna give it, hey, let's over budget and insurance and then I'm gonna move it.
No. I'll be watching for that.
Well, thank you all for
All
that.
right, thank you, Steve. Okay, now, we approve that truck driver. Okay. Next up are the minutes from January 23rd and January 31st. We'll take these separately. Does anybody have any changes or was there anything? Let's do the 23rd first, January 23rd. If there's no amendments, I can entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve the minutes from January 23rd made by Stan,
Second.
second by Gail. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Did everybody vote? Okay, motion.
I did not vote.
Okay, motion passes 6-0-1. You abstained, so. And then the next one is January 31st. Is there any corrections for that?
Yeah, I found some corrections that needed to be made on that one.
Okay, what do we got?
Email me on that?
I didn't, it was late last night.
Okay, what is it?
This is my first time.
Hey, hey,
Ding
be
on you.
easy on him.
Uh,
Ding, ding.
On the second
Get your
page,
button.
there, it's talking about Assistant Chief Phil Flamia being here.
At the
That
bottom?
entire conversation was Randy Cole, not Phil Flamia.
Oh,
Which one is that?
at the
We were
bottom?
talking about PSAT.
Was it down here on page 2? Bottom of page 2?
Yeah.
Okay,
What meeting?
the 31st. It was that, yeah, it was that special meeting to go over dispatch and
He was over here. in the
Yeah, and he
corner.
was
never
talking
came
from
up
the
to
crowd.
podium, But that was Randy.
it was the one where you had to verify how they were supposed to be paid and then letter came in halfway through. So
Okay.
Phil wasn't here, you're right, so.
Is Phil Fleming here
No.
All those.
No.
at all? Was
Well,
he-
I think, here's what I think happened is Randy didn't come up to the podium.
Yeah.
I think that's right. You're right.
So you just thought maybe it was him?
There's just 6 mentions of his name. just
Okay.
his
So
name
Chris
was
just
Cole.
guessed.
Was
We
he
will
even
get that
here?
corrected.
Okay, anyways, we can make those changes.
I'll make those
With
changes.
those amendments, I will make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, motion made by Corey with the amendments, seconded by David. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
6-0-1. with Brad abstaining. Next up is her for the salary ordinance.
Okay, so, yep, I sent you guys the 2025 salary ordinance, just an amendment. We have added the solid waste as county employees. So we took care of that in January, getting them added, so this is just, nothing's different.
Just updating
other than Just updating, adding the
We have to read that or not?
forms, no.
Okay. So it's on page 4, it's just the part-time and the full-time employee.
I make a motion to approve adding
In the salary ordinance.
in the salary ordinance, adding the solid waste.
All right, motion made to approve the salary ordinance with the additions of solid waste made by David,
I'll second that.
second by Paul. Any more discussion?
Do we need to consider the health department changes?
I haven't got them in there yet.
So we'll just have to do another one?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll just,
You guys just approved that tonight, so they're not in there.
okay. So we will go ahead with this one, and then there might be another one since we approved the health department.
Yep.
There might be, there will be.
Yeah, there will be, sorry. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 7-0.
All right, next we have additional appropriations. Just so you guys know, the annual financial report for 2024 has been submitted to the Department of Local Government Finance. So we do have a few additionals here. The first one, and I don't think any of the department heads for these are here, so, but I am able to speak on behalf of them. Pretrial diversion for the prosecutor's office, the law enforcement donation. This is just replacing the transfer to office supplies that was done last month. So this will be an additional. Just to kind of explain a little bit as far as how this works, I know Kelly and I talked a little bit about this because of with the AFR annual financial report. The DLGF will not, Department of Local Government Finance will not approve any additional appropriations until after your annual financial report is done, just so they can see your ending balance, your estimated, revenue, your estimated expenditures, and your estimated ending cash balance. I would encourage you guys, when you get these additional appropriations, you guys kind of need to do the same thing. You need to look at the fund balances and make sure, not necessarily is this a legitimate claim or additional appropriation, but hey, do we have the funds to support this additional appropriation? So, and the
But
only
you
way-
also check that one.
Yes, I checked that,
Okay.
yes, I checked
I
that.
just want to make sure.
Yes,
too.
I checked that. So the Department of Local Government Finance, the only thing they're approving is if you have the cash balance to support that additional appropriation. So that's why we typically wait till the end of February so we can have an accurate figure on ending cash balances. So there we go. So pretrial diversion for $10,000 in a law enforcement donation.
So I'll entertain a motion for that additional appropriation.
So move made.
Motion made by David,
Second.
second by Gail. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
The next one is for the Supplemental Adult Probation Fund, also known as SAPS, for the Circuit Court, for law books, and the line item of law books.
That's right here. You need
Have that?
Yep.
Yeah, so due to the agreement of cutting the line item in the county general, the law books that are required yearly need to be paid out of SAPS once the amount in the county general reaches a zero balance. So that's where we're at.
So it helps offset our
General fund.
actual budget, yeah. So it's a good thing, I think.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Corey to approve,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes 7-0. Next.
All right, the next one is out of the general fund, ouchie, ouchie. I have made notes in our budget book. This is for the cleaning of the prosecutor's office. I only budgeted for the Glades cleaning service quote that I had. They want to continue their cleaning individually. They have an employee that cleans, so this would be for that. We do pay for $200 a month. And of course, Social Security has to come out of that as well. So it would be $2,400 out of the line item for cleaning services and 200 out of the line item for social security.
I make a motion to approve.
Both of those?
Yes.
Or, okay.
You have to do both of them together. You can't
Okay,
do
all
one.
right. A motion by David to approve both together,
I'll second that.
seconded by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And we took the A off of number 10. So then we're moving down to the ordinances. Hold on, let me get these. No, I don't think okay, I got them all. So we have 6 different ordinances that are for the establishing the edit, different classifications for restricted funds within that. With those edit funds, it kind of follows the edit plan. The commissioners put together an edit plan and then they allocate certain dollars to go towards certain things. And we think that it's best to have those in their own particular funds so that it just doesn't get messy. It just makes it cleaner. So Rod, our attorney, has put together some ordinances, draft ordinances for us to consider. I guess I can just read the first couple, whereas is that they're all very similar. They're all for the edit funds to create funds within there for different purposes. The first is the ordinance to establish major maintenance projects restricted fund. So it says, whereas Perry County, Indiana receives economic development income tax edit funds from the state of Indiana, the county may under IC 63.7-17 approve appropriation for the use of edit funds for any lawful purpose, including major maintenance of county-owned properties and facilities. Whereas the Perry County Council wishes to establish in the county an accounting structure, a restricted fund to be titled Major Maintenance Projects Restricted Fund for the major maintenance costs of county-owned properties and facilities and for tracking and expenditure of such funds to ensure that such funds are available and strictly used in payment for these purposes. It goes right along with the edit plan. So this is the first ordinance that we're going to consider tonight.
Let's do all of it at once.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
all of it at once.
I can go ahead and read through the rest of them.
I would
if
just
that's
read
okay.
each of them. I mean, because pretty much it's the same,
Okay.
just to save
Yep.
time.
The paragraphs are, they're the same. Should I read each? I can just read the title. The next one is ordinance to establish the jail operations project restricted fund. And that is for any lawful purpose related to jail operations projects. Do you want me to read these two again? The first two? Okay.
No.
The next one is the ordinance to establish the economic development projects restricted fund. What this is any lawful purpose, it can be used for any lawful purpose related to economic development. So that is that ordinance. The next one is ordinance to establish the highway projects restricted fund. So that is an ordinance to be used for any lawful purpose related to highway projects such as the paving of roads or, I think you use it for community crossings, match sometimes, things like that. So as long as it's something that's specific to highway. That's what that one is. And the next one is a ordinance to establish the special projects restricted fund. So there is a special projects fund within the edit funds and within that plan that they use for just different things, whatever might come up that's something that they deem as a special project. So any lawful purpose related to special projects.
And right now, all this money is in one fund, Fund 1112.
Security.
And I'm sure Steve and Marilyn, primarily Marilyn, will love it because right now, all this money is just one big pot. And so within our software,
You went to
we
jail.
can't necessarily see the balance of each individual line because it's got a different receipt account and a different expenditure account. So now each of these will just be one pretty little line up and we won't have to manually figure how much is in each of these account lines outside of our software.
And I did forget one, the courthouse security. So we have an ordinance, we have an ordinance to establish the courthouse security restricted fund. And it is edit funds for any lawful purpose related to courthouse security. So the officer that sits here that does the security for the courthouse comes from our slice of the edit funds. So I think I got them all now. Thank you, David.
That's 6 of them.
Okay, so we have 6 in total, and you're sure I don't have to read these
You're good.
all the way down? Okay. And you want to take them separately so you can have all those motions, or?
Nope, we don't need to because they don't have anything to do with 40
Okay.
or payroll.
Okay, well, does anybody have any questions or want to discuss any of these, or? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the new ordinances. There's 6 different ones.
I'll make that motion to approve the 6 new ordinances.
Okay,
For the
motion
other
made,
funds.
motion made by David to
I'll
approve,
second it.
second by Stan. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
So these will be on your guys' next fund report.
That's great. Oh, what is the next one? Oh, here we go. Yeah, but I don't know why this is on here.
Well,
Just to announce it again?
Yes, I just kind of want to
Okay,
go
'cause I'm gonna
over,
try to put this on social media, what we have open too.
yes, I wanted to just make sure we're all on the same page as far as what we've got. You guys did, I did email out today, which
I didn't get them if you've seen
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. I emailed out today, we did receive, just today, we received 2 letters of interest for the Peterborough Board. So we'll just move that to the
We do have
next.
2 openings to the Peterborough Board.
Correct.
And then it says internal planning and zoning. Why, Paul, why did I think you said you would do that? Did
Well,
you say that or not?
Yes, I did. I said if nobody else is doing it, I will do it.
Okay, so we just need to put Paul on there.
Well, I thought we already addressed that in the meeting. Did we or not?
Well,
Maybe I just asked.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
If we did.
Well, if you're interested, I'm
Yeah.
fine with it unless somebody else wants
I'm
to.
interested.
It's a council.
Yes.
It's an internal appointment, yep, for the Planning and Zoning Committee. Is there any other interest, or if not, I'll entertain a motion for,
I think Paul would do a good job.
okay, so is that a motion?
Excellent. Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay. David makes a motion to
I'll second.
appoint Paul to the Planning and Zoning Committee, seconded by Gail. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay,
6.
motion passes 601. And then we'll get the other ones. They are on the website, so just to make everyone aware, the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, there's 2 openings there. The Zoning Appeals Board, it's 1, right?
No,
Paul just filled it.
No, he didn't do zoning appeals. He did Internal Planning and Zoning Committee. There's 2.
Oh, the internal, yes, there's still one for the zoning.
Yeah, so we have Zoning Appeals Board, and those are listed on our website, perrycounty.in.gov. I think at the bottom, there's board appointments. These are
Yeah,
under
yeah.
council. You might have to go to departments and then go to,
Yeah, if you
Council
go
and then-
here, and you go to
she's gonna show you.
about,
Well, you
and
won't
go
be able to
to
see on
board
tape.
members. And that's where they are. Where's that board?
Those 2, Peterborough, their party affiliation. aren't they?
yeah, the
Yeah.
2 Peterborough are party affiliation, but we need to verify what the ones that are, you know what I am, but I don't know the other 2. We need to verify from them what they're,
We already did,
you did? Okay.
very good. So
So,
here's
Those do
your,
have to be Democrat.
yes,
or
Or
independent
independent.
or libertarian, yeah.
there's where you are.
Is that, so that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So these Peterborough appointments, the Property Tax Board Assessment of Appeals have to be either Democrat, independent, or libertarians based on state statute.
Yep, and then there's the commissioners.
Yeah, if you go on our website, it shows all the openings. There's some on the commissioners and some for the council. So if anybody's interested in those, be sure to submit your information. If there's nothing else, our next meeting is March 27th.
Really, I'd like to ask one question.
What? Yeah.
Our building is a county building. We clean it ourselves. We get paid $3 a day for cleaning it.
I think that was a good try. That was a good try.
I love it.
That's being done during the working hours.
Okay. If nothing else, our next meeting is March 27th at 5. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
Okay, motion made by Corey,
Second.
second by Stan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. God love
All
you.
right, don't anybody leave your papers to sign.
Hello, Mr.